Live from the area's most trusted news source and the region's only First Alert weather team. This is Noon News Now.
Good afternoon, I'm Jess Abrahamson. Before we get to our top stories, we want to welcome some new viewers from the Mankato area. We have recently expanded our coverage area across southern Minnesota, and we are honored to begin developing a relationship with you as we continue to serve our longtime viewers in southeast Minnesota and North Iowa. So let's get to the news. Tonight, the Rochester City Council will take up several issues, including plans to discuss a juvenile curfew ordinance and the teardown process of a decaying trailer park. Our Aaliyah Demery is joining us live in our studio with a look at the meeting ahead tonight. Hi, Aaliyah.
Jess, let's start with Bob's Mobile Home Trailer Park in southeast Rochester on Marion Road. The trailer park closed in May of last year, and since then the site has been left unattended, causing the area to deteriorate to the point that the condition is hazardous. The problem is that the trailer park has no type of fencing around the area, causing it to be dangerous to the public. The owner of the park has agreed to let the city proceed with demolishing the site. Tonight, the city plans to discuss the contracting approval to get the process started.
We're concerned about someone entering the structure and it collapsing, or them falling through a hole in the floor, or being around the building and something falling and injuring someone.
Also tonight, the City Council will be addressing the city's juvenile curfew. Youth under age 18 are not to be outside without an adult between 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. Sunday through Thursday and midnight on Fridays and Saturdays. That ordinance expires at the end of the year. The council is looking to discuss extending that ordinance to 2026. Rochester police say the curfew is in place to protect the community from illegal activities and protect minors from negative and criminal activity. The meeting starts at 6 tonight, and you can find more information about the agenda on our website. Reporting in studio, Aaliyah Demery, back to you, Jess.
Thanks, Aaliyah. A Rochester man is in jail after allegedly threatening to shoot people at a Rochester polling place. According to police, 46-year-old Timothy Kearney was accompanying someone to vote at a polling place off Campus Drive Southeast. Police later learned Kearney later found him down the road from that polling place. Police say he was taken to Mayo Clinic St. Mary's because he was intoxicated and then later booked into the Olmsted County Adult Detention Center. Kearney is facing a felony charge for threats of violence. Let's talk about weather now with meteorologist Ted Schmidt. We started our Monday on a very foggy note early this morning. That improved throughout our morning news, and now that's lifted, but we're left with some gray skies.
It's pretty great. We did have a little sun a little while ago, about an hour ago. I was outside enjoying this very mild day of limited sun. We're back to clouds now, and we're looking at the possibility of maybe a brief shower in the next few minutes as we look live outside down Bandle Road here in Northwest Rochester, live with our Louis Stidauto camera. Gray skies right now, pretty mild. 60 degrees right now in Rochester at the airport. Mason City 62, Mankato 54. A little cooler there. There's some cooler air working its way in from the west behind the front. Ahead of that front, we have this 60s limited sun. Still the possibility of rain at 61 right now here at the studio. Winds southwest at only 3 miles per hour. They'll turn more to the west as that front moves through. Ahead of that front, also showers building north and eastward, approaching the airport in Rochester. Preston's getting some rain, as is Winona, a couple sprinkles there. But to the west, there are some gaps in the clouds developing. Showers will move out. We'll have very limited peaks at the sun this afternoon with some clouds. A cool trend headed our way. It'll top out around 62 in the next hour or two. Then cooler air coming in for those westerly winds, limited sun back to the 50s we go later today. And then tonight, late in the evening and overnight hours, there comes more rain. It'll develop through the overnight hours. And then tomorrow looks like kind of a wet election day. Just kind of a breezy, cool one as well. But after that, I do think the pattern gets a little better. But today and tomorrow, still kind of unsettled.
So as we make our plans to vote, we'll have to remember to maybe bring an umbrella along.
I think it's a good idea.
Okay, Thank you, Ted. At this hour, the jury is getting closer to entering deliberations in the Mustafa Bush murder trial. Closing arguments got underway this morning at the Olmsted County Government Center. Bush is accused in the December 2022 murder of Kim Robinson of Iota. Her body was found in a snowy ditch near Rochester. Today, the state went to its closing argument. Olmsted County Attorney Mark Ostrom using the time to review evidence, including messages and photos of abuse. Also part of that closing argument, a conversation Kim Robinson had with her son, saying if she died, Mustafa Bush was to blame, along with Bush's own sister testifying that Bush admitted to killing Robinson. The state also brought up crime scene evidence saying that it proves this was an intentional act. After a break, the defense was able to start its arguments. Those are ongoing at this hour. The jury is expected to begin deliberations this afternoon. Bush is facing 2 charges of first-degree murder and 1 count of second-degree murder. You can stick with us on air and online as we bring you the latest from court. The Ulster County Sheriff's Office is reporting a DWI arrest after deputies say they clocked an Orinoco man driving at 108 miles per hour in a 55-mile-per-hour zone. Just before midnight Friday, deputies stopped the 20-year-old Daniel Outcalled on Lake Shady Avenue South. Deputies say he showed signs of impairment and was arrested on suspicion of DWI. According to the Sheriff's Office, once at the Adult Detention Center, he gave a breath test of .22. That is nearly 3 times the legal limit. We're told a passenger in his vehicle was cited for underage consumption. Outcalled is facing multiple charges, including 3rd-degree DWI, speeding over 100 miles per hour, and reckless driving. If you have driven along College View Road east in Rochester, you may have noticed a big electronic sign saying the Federal Medical Center is hiring. Our Charles Kelly is joining us live in our studio now with this story. Charles, tell us about some of the staffing challenges they're seeing there.
Jess, the Federal Medical Center right here in the Med City says it's a challenging time recruiting and retaining medical staff. Public Information Officer Chad Oram says this is not out of the ordinary, but tells me it's due to competitive nature of the medical field in southeastern Minnesota. The Federal Medical Center oversees more than 900 inmates, and Oram says their current staffing doesn't impact the care of the inmates. The prison has vacancies for positions like registered nurses, nursing assistants, a pharmacist, physical therapist, psychologists, and psychiatrists, just to name a few, and even a need for correctional officers.
We have 24-hour nursing care, we have physicians, we have advanced practice providers that do an excellent job of caring for the inmates and giving them attentive care. If we do reach our staffing levels, that will just continue that excellent care of the inmates and then allow for management of schedules. The mission of the Bureau of Prisons is to house these guys in a safe and humane manner. With that, we do a lot of programming to get these guys ready for release. So that's the main focus here at Rochester.
Oram tells me the staff is considered federal law enforcement officers, so there's a requirement to be under 37 years of age to apply, but there are exceptions for registered nurses. The big draw for recruiting, Oram says, is the benefits package. If you are interested in applying for any of the positions, you can visit our website. Reporting live in studio, I'm Charles Kelly. Back to you, Jess.
Thanks, Charles. Traffic alert for the western half of our viewing area. Starting today, there is a temporary road closure to fix a railway route that was damaged earlier this year. According to MnDOT, a portion of Highway 71 near Sanborn is closed, and that's to allow Canadian Pacific Railroad to fix the railway bridge there. Drivers will be detoured to Highway 14, Brown County Roads 2 and 21, and Redwood County Road 11. Officials expect the road to reopen by Friday. Catching up with the candidates, both VP nominees Tim Walz and J.D. Vance are in our region today, making that final push to Election Day. We'll get some perspective on all of this just ahead.
When you want to plan or predict or know.
Tomorrow at this time, voters will have been at the polls for more than 5 hours. So this is last chance day for the candidates. And as the Democratic vice presidential nominee, Governor Tim Walz and his wife Gwen are making a campaign blitz across several states, supporters held an event for him this morning at MSP International Airport. Many familiar faces waiting to greet him in cold and wet weather, including Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan and U.S. Senators Tina Smith and Amy Klobuchar. Today, Walz's journey takes him to La Crosse, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania as he works to reach voters in these battleground states. Now on the flip side, Republicans gathered in La Crosse this morning in support of the Trump-Vance ticket. J.D. Vance speaking at the Lacrosse Center that got underway at 9:30 this morning. And here is a taste of his message for voters.
But look, it's very simple here. We are done with early vote, which means that tomorrow is our last chance. Tomorrow is the last day. Tomorrow is the big day when we are going to vote in very big numbers in the state of Wisconsin. We're going to vote for change. We're going to vote for American prosperity. We're going to vote for Donald J. Trump to be the President of the United States.
Well, I think that's what everyone can agree on. Tomorrow is the big day. So some continuing election coverage here to help paint a picture of where our country is at right now on this election eve. Let's check in with our Washington correspondent, Brendan Cullerton, joining us from our nation's capital. So we're talking about Wisconsin, just hearing about these candidates there today. What is the situation looking like there and in some of the other key swing states?
Well, there's 7 key swing states. You can kind of break them down into 3 regions. Donald Trump has generally led in the 2 in the southeast, Georgia, North Carolina, as well as the 2 in the west, in Arizona and Nevada. And then you have the 3 blue wall states, of which Wisconsin is one of. Kamala Harris has tended to have a very small lead there. Wouldn't be shocking if Donald Trump won, but she's tended to lead in the polls in Wisconsin and in Michigan. Pennsylvania, though, which would be a state she would need to follow that blue wall path, that's been a toss-up most of this cycle. That's one of the key states to keep an eye on tomorrow night.
Okay, we're talking about swing states here, and we just showed where our VP nominees are. Where are Donald Trump and Kamala Harris on this final day before the election? And let's start with Harris.
Well, and it is key. You know, candidates tell you what states they think are important by where they spend their time leading up to the election. So you just mentioned the candidates in Wisconsin. It's an important state. Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, both in Pennsylvania today, because that is such an important state. Kamala Harris in Philadelphia, where she's going to need to turn that area out. She's going to need to turn out voters in the suburbs, because Donald Trump is expected to lead by a wide margin in the more rural parts of Pennsylvania, where he is also today. And Donald Trump will be heading to Michigan, Grand Rapids as well.
Okay, busy last day here before the election. And Brendan, thanks for your perspective. I know you're going to be staying with us through Election Day and beyond, giving us your perspective, and we appreciate that. So we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good day.
Anytime, Jess.
And here's Ted now with more on our Monday. A gray one out there, Ted.
We've got a lot of clouds with a bit of rain as well, and temperatures right now pretty mild, but we have some cooler, wetter weather ahead as we approach Election Day. The latest on that and a look at your full 7-day forecast is coming up after our market report.
And now, your first alert forecast.
It is a gray Monday out there, but this may be one of the most mild days of the week, Ted.
It may be certainly the warmest and one of the more pleasant ones. We do have some decent days down the road, but right now to start the week, not the prettiest of days in most cases. We do have some peaks of the sun. You see some little breaks in the clouds as we look outside with some of our Lewiston Auto Live cameras across the map. But a lot of clouds, but also a little bit of rain. We've had quite a bit of that in the past 24 hours. Most of the rain has moved out. This is the last of the batches of rain we're going to be tracking in radar for a while. Activity focused near Preston, also southern part of Olmsted County here in Rochester and near Osage, Iowa, up toward Riceville. That's moving northeastward into Winona and into Wisconsin. Behind it, we are going to see a sizable break in activity. There's a cold front approaching, though. We see the temperatures right now ahead of that front. On the mild side, as I said, we're looking at 60s, but behind that front, you can see what's going on. Mankato 54, Blue Earth 55, Rochester 60. Winona 63. There's the warmth. things are going to get a little bit cooler here, but a little drier. We're going to have some sprinkles or spotty showers here in the next couple of hours. Then we get another chance of rain tonight, later tonight and tomorrow. And then we get a break with some sunshine returning later in the week. But future track computer modeling, we'll look at these spotty showers and sprinkles initially. We get a break, and then we'll have some peaks of sunshine. Temperatures cooling to the 50s this afternoon. Eventually this evening, dropping to the 40s. We begin to see the rain resurgence of the rain. Another wave of low pressure coming in from the southwest, lagging behind that cold front. That'll come in, developing around 8 or 9 o'clock. Rain through the night. Temperatures in the 40s. Tomorrow, quite a bit of rain, maybe as much as ½ inch, 2/3 of an inch of rainfall. And then it wraps up by mid-afternoon. So if you're going to be voting tomorrow and you have a chance, maybe late in the day to avoid having to deal with rain gear. Otherwise, you'll need that rain gear early on. And temperatures tomorrow night back to the 30s. Sunshine Wednesday, readings approaching the 50s with occasional sun, and we'll be in the 50s most of the week. Spotty showers maybe initially, but let's see those rain chances really ramp up around midnight through tomorrow morning, and then begin to taper off by mid-afternoon tomorrow. But kind of a wet Tuesday overall. More rain coming in late Sunday, or Saturday into Sunday, that is. Temperatures today, 60s in Dodge Center, 56 meanwhile in Blue Earth and New Ulm, 54. Tonight, readings in the 40s with some light showers. And looking ahead at tomorrow, Rochester 49 degrees, some showers. A cool northwest breeze, Mankato 44 tomorrow. So definitely a colder day with more rain, more gloom around for a big part of the day. But after that, it does get better. We'll have increasing sunshine. Austin and Mason City looking at some sun later this week. A lot of 50s, which is typical for this time of the year. And 7-day forecast again, election day 49, but there it gets better after that. Maybe we'll all be breathing a sigh of relief after that with things looking brighter and a little cheerier, maybe a little warmer too.
Yeah, sun after election day, the day after that. Hopefully everyone will be happy. I don't know how possible that is.
We'll do what we can in the weather department.
Yeah. That will be appreciated. Thanks, Ted. Just ahead, volunteers are needed to help Minnesota seniors rake their lawns. And Hurricane Helene created some IV shortages. That is impacting healthcare. We'll break that down just ahead. Patients visiting emergency departments for dehydration or nausea are half as likely to get IV fluids as they were before Hurricane Helene. And that is according to analysis from health records by firm Truvita Research. The storm caused flooding and damage at a North Carolina manufacturing facility that typically provides about 60% of IV fluids to hospitals across the country. These disruptions have led to multiple new shortages. To minimize the impact on patients, officials and professional organizations do recommend developing strategies to conserve resources. That includes oral hydration substitutions like Gatorade or Pedialyte when possible, and continuous assessment of the need for IV fluids. You might still be munching on some Halloween candy, but here is a good reason to take it easy. November is National Diabetes Awareness Month, and diabetes is a condition where your blood sugar is just too high. That can result in serious complications like blindness, amputations, heart attack, and stroke. More than 38 million people in the U.S. have this. There is type 1 and type 2 diabetes. Scientists don't know exactly what causes it, but you can reduce your risk by maintaining a healthy weight, exercise, and not smoking. Volunteers are needed to help the older population in Blue Earth and Nicollet counties. Vine Faith in Action is asking for more support for its annual Rake the Town service event. Officials say there are more than 90 older homeowners in the area that need some help raking leaves. Anyone interested can sign up online at vinevolunteers.org. You can choose your preferred day, time, and location to rake. And they're even going to provide rakes or other supplies that may be needed along with the addresses of these homes. The Rake the Town event runs through Sunday. And Ted, that can be such a big job, raking up leaves from your lawn. So what a great way to help others.
Yeah, great way to do it. Get a little exercise too, I suppose.
And today would be good for that.
Yeah, a mild day. The shower is kind of winding down. We have maybe another brief shower in store here in Rochester and in southeast Minnesota here. Otherwise, looking at a break until tonight, then rain. As we look at your Mankato 7-day forecast, we're looking at that. Rain chances tomorrow there in the 40s here in Rochester, upper 40s with light showers tomorrow as well.
Okay, thank you, Ted. To our Mankato's viewers leaving us, have a great day. Also now, for those of you sticking with us, here is Howard with a look at what he is up to in the kitchen.
Put away your summertime pasta salad recipe, because we have a new one for fall that is doubly good. Doubly good. When we think of pasta salad, we typically think of macaroni salad or some kind of twirly noodles tossed with veggies in a light vinaigrette. Well, those are great for summer get-togethers and barbecues. But right now, we need a pasta salad that's more fitting for the season, like this new one we just came up with. We start by boiling some elbow macaroni, just like we always do, and draining it really well. While that sits for a sec, we mix a mayo with a bit of, get this, some maple syrup, a splash of apple cider vinegar, and a little salt, and we set that aside. Now we add some cut up cooked chicken to our pasta, along with some chopped up fresh pears and apples, a handful of dried cranberries, chopped celery, and to give this some crunch, a good amount of candied walnuts. All this gets tossed with our maple mayo mixture, and it's ready to serve as is. Or we can pop it in the fridge so it can chill for a bit before serving. It's really hard to explain just how good this is. I mean, between the sweet and tart dressing, the crunch of the apples and the pears, the candied nuts, and the heartiness of the chicken, what's not to love? As always, the recipe for our autumn pasta salad is online now and is ready to add some excitement to your table all season long. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a new fall-like way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
A few stray showers going on right now. Temperatures starting in the low 60s will cool the 50s this afternoon. As you look at the day planner, here's your Ted's trivia question for the day. Which U.S. president holds the record for margin of victory in the popular vote, winning by nearly 18 million votes? Is one of those four candidates below, and we'll have that answer in just a few minutes.
Yeah, that had to be a good feeling, Ted. Thank you. Holiday consumer spending could reach a record this year. And young families are struggling to make ends meet. We're going to get insight on how economic challenges could play out at the polls. We'll be right back.
It's the
Young families have a harder time raising kids than previous generations. Rising costs of childcare, an unbalanced work-family dynamic, and fewer resources make it tough. Our Washington correspondent, Ryan Henson, discusses how new leadership could alleviate the struggle.
The average household spends $325 a week. That's roughly 20% of their income just on childcare, according to Lending Tree analysis. For some mothers, raising a child can cost them their career.
We not only are losing out in terms of wages, but we're losing out in terms of career growth and promotions.
More than half of the country lives in a childcare desert, especially in rural and urban communities. The combination of inflation and COVID funds drying up, families are shelling out more money now on their family than previous generations. Dawn Hucklebridge with Paid Leave PAC says she wants 12 weeks paid leave for new parents. That way, mothers don't have to choose between their careers and their children.
Which means that 1 in 4 women have gone back to work within just 2 weeks of giving birth. And if you think about it, you can't even check children into a child care center at that early in life. You can't get vaccines that early.
Now, Hucklebridge believes Kamala Harris's leadership will create more family-friendly policies that will allow parents to stay home with children longer. Now, Tiffany Justice, co-founder of Moms for Liberty, believes Donald Trump will create a better economy, thus giving parents the flexibility to choose to stay home.
Parents are having trouble affording groceries, paying their mortgage, paying car payments, and then having to put your children in childcare and having to pay for that as those costs continue to rise is an impossible situation. So the hope is that President Trump is going to be able to turn the economy around.
Justice believes if the economy were to turn around to allow her to stay home with her children, it's going to start with like-minded leadership in Washington.
I think that there's an opportunity for tax credits and other things that the government can be innovative in how we support family. And I'm excited to be able to see and hopefully work with President Trump to make some of those things happen.
Both women say they're looking forward to more families spending time with each other during the next administration. In Washington, I'm Ryan Henson.
And ahead of Election Day tomorrow, for the first time ever, voters in Minnesota were able to head to the polls on a Sunday, part of the 2023 Democracy for All bill. As part of that, voting hours across the state were expanded to include the Sunday before Election Day. The Blue Earth County Election Office is reporting more than 300 voters came into the polls. Election officials say the new hours have allowed voting to be more accessible.
What we've noticed is a lot of them have been families. They've come in together as part of their errands on the weekend or whatnot. And so it's been really cool to see some new voters coming in with older voters, grandparents coming in with grandchildren, combinations like that.
Today is the last chance to vote early before Election Day. Election offices are open until 5, and then tomorrow, of course, the polls will be open from 7 a.m. until 8 p.m. The milk supply remains safe from bird flu, and government officials are working to keep it that way. Here's our Ag Day Minute.
I'm Clinton Griffiths with today's Ag Day Minute. Officials continue to work to make sure the nation's milk supply remains safe. To that end, USDA says it will soon begin bulk raw milk testing across the country for avian flu. Now, Reuters says it comes after livestock and veterinary groups pushed for the agency to increase its current surveillance approach. There are now 15 states where dairy cattle have tested positive for the virus. The latest is Utah, where a first round of mandatory milk testing identified H5N1 infections at 8 dairy herds, but no live virus has been found in milk nationwide thus far. Look for changes at Wendy's. The fast food chain says it will be closing 140 restaurants, but it plans to open an equal number of new locations in other areas. It says the stores it's closing are outdated and underperforming. The latest round is in addition to the 100 closing it announced back in May. We're still eating the candy from Halloween, and already retailers are looking ahead to the holiday shopping season. The National Retail Federation says consumer spending on the winter holidays is expected to reach a record $902 per person. That includes gifts, food, decorations, and all the other trimmings. That amount is about $25 more per person than last year. It says the increase in spending is largely attributed to gifts for family. For more Ag News, watch Ag Day weekdays on the station anytime at agweb.com.
Live from the area's most trusted news source and the region's only First Alert weather team, this is New News Now.
A lot of clouds around right now. We've had rain already, almost half an inch in Rochester in the past 24 hours. And now we're looking at thick clouds and the possibility of maybe a couple of sprinkles here. Activity now edging its way through Olmsted County, now edging its way past the city of Rochester and also impacting the airport. Now moving into Winona and Preston. That's where all of the activity is right now. To the west, drier weather. We've had some peaks of sunshine as you see here on the satellite radar, but now the clouds are filling in. All of this happening as a cold front works its way in. This is time-lapse imagery looking at the past several hours as this front pushes its way now eastward, generating these showers behind it. There are going to be some clouds holding on with the prospect of more activity eventually showing up tonight. But for the rest of the afternoon, things do look generally dry after this batch of rain moves through. 60 degrees right along that front in Rochester. It's 63 in Winona. Behind the front, you can see drier but cooler weather. 54 right now in Blue Earth, Mankato 54, and 61 in Mason City. A cool breeze, some sprinkles or light showers here in the next couple of hours. Rain chances come back tonight and tomorrow, and then we're back to sunshine, increasing sun for the tail portion of the work week. Temperatures looking actually seasonally cool, if not maybe a little better than average in some cases. Today, I think will stand as the warmest day of the week. 60s on the map right now ahead of that front. See these little sprinkles and spotty showers. Those will hold on for another couple of hours. Later on, we dry things out with very few peaks at the sun. Temperatures easing back into the 50s this afternoon behind that front and dropping to the 40s tonight. Next wave of rain comes in just before midnight, lasting through the night, and then through tomorrow. Some downpours or rainfall in the morning hours. Then things slowly begin to dry out in the afternoon. By mid-afternoon, we're done with the rain. Temperatures close to 50 initially, but dropping to the low 40s later on with clearing skies later tomorrow night. And then on Wednesday, starting the 30s, we'll make our way into the 40s by lunchtime, generally low 50s on Wednesday with limited rounds of sun and increasing sun beyond that with more 50s later this week. Rain chances really picking up after midnight tonight. See those rain showers tomorrow morning, most of them early on, but then they'll slowly taper off by mid-afternoon tomorrow for Election Day. So just plan for some rain at the polls because about 2/3 of the day will at least feature the possibility of rain, but by evening, drying out. Another round of rain Saturday night into Sunday, but that's days away. We'll have some sunshine in between, and rainfall amounts up to an inch or more of rainfall is possible in a few spots, but mostly slightly less than that in the next 3 days. So maybe half inch to maybe an inch and a tenth in that range. And then high temperatures today is 60s, cooling to the 50s eventually, though. 62 in Rochester, 57 in Albert Lea, and 54 in St. James. Tonight, temperatures mainly in the low and mid 40s. Still above average by a few degrees, but very November-like with showers redeveloping, a lot of clouds. And then tomorrow, the temperatures 40s and low 50s. Mason City around 50 degrees with showers, especially early on. Mankato, perhaps some sun late in the afternoon. The showers move aside by afternoon. 44, though, in Mankato. And so for Election Day, breezy and cool 40s, then some sunshine and rain again primarily on Sunday this weekend. Ted's Trivia, which U.S. president holds the record for margin of victory in the popular vote, winning by nearly 18 million votes?
Oh, goodness. I'm going to go with D, Roosevelt.
It's actually one you might not expect, and it's Richard Nixon. 1972,
Really?
18 million votes.
Yeah, he had some
Landslide.
challenging times, so hopefully he could reflect on that happy moment.
I suppose, yeah.
Thank you, Ted. He has a big place in music history. We are remembering producer and composer Quincy Jones next. Music mogul Quincy Jones has died at the age of 91. Sarah Seidner takes a look back at his incredible career.
As the man behind some of music's most memorable hits, Quincy Jones was one of the most Grammy-nominated artists of all time.
When you do what you love, it's not work.
Born Quincy Delight Jones Jr. on the south side of Chicago in 1933, Jones found his passion for music when his family moved to Seattle in the late 40s. Jones took a job with the Lionel Hampton Band as its trumpet player. He worked steadily with musical greats like Sarah Vaughan, Count Basie, Duke Ellington, Dinah Washington, and his friend Ray Charles.
We didn't think about money or fame ever.
During the 60s, Jones began writing film scores for movies such as The Pawnbroker, In Cold Blood, and In the Heat of the Night. He even crafted iconic themes for the TV shows Ironside and Sanford and Son. The in-demand musician even arranged and conducted his friend Frank Sinatra's second album with Count Basie, It Might As Well Be Swing. The 1964 album included Old Blue Eye's hit song, Fly Me to the Moon.
Fly me to the moon.
And we had the best time. It's like being on another planet with him. Frank would say, Q, live every day like it's your last, and one day you'll be right.
Jones suffered 2 brain aneurysms in 1974 that nearly took his life. He recovered and went right back to work. He produced albums for Aretha Franklin, George Benson, and Michael Jackson's first solo effort, Off the Wall, in 1979. Jones' successful collaboration with MJ also led to Thriller in 1982. It became the best-selling album of all time. The dynamic duo teamed up again in 1985 with We Are the World.
I like to think about the studio as a place that's real sacred, you know, where magical things happen. Hopefully, you know, that's what great records are supposed to be about.
Good night, Carol.
He produced his first film, The Color Purple, in 1985. The drama earned 11 Oscar nominations, including Best Picture. Q, as his friends called him, seemed to always have a good idea. He created Quincy Jones Entertainment in 1990. The following year, he produced the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air TV series, starring rapper-turned-actor Will Smith.
Now this is a story all about how my life
You never think of retiring, do you?
Never. When you retire, you travel and you do what you like to do, and I'm already doing it.
In early 2013, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame honored Q for his exemplary contributions to music.
I worked with every major artist in the world in the last 60 years. So it's a blessing, man. It is. You have to take the light part of your life, wipe out the darkness.
What an incredible life and career. Just ahead, revisiting a European vacation paradise by simply breathing it in. We're going to check out a most unique souvenir from Lake Como in Italy when we return. TGI Fridays has filed for bankruptcy protection. In a statement, the executive chair of the casual dining chain cites the pandemic as being the cause of their financial woes. The company says the bankruptcy only affects the chain's parent company, not franchises. All restaurants will remain open, including the dozens that are corporately owned. There are 163 Fridays locations across the country and 7 in Minnesota. Soda is making a comeback after decades of decline. Both Coca-Cola and Dr. Pepper report they sold more cases of pop in the last quarter. And during the third quarter of this year, total soft drink volumes grew 1.3% from a year ago. This comeback follows 2 decades of decline over concerns about the health effects of sugary drinks. Yet consumers right now seem willing to brush off those concerns. We leave you today with this fun story. For tourists returning from vacation, perhaps they'll bring home a keychain, a t-shirt, box of candy. But now people who want to relive their dream vacation to Lake Como in Italy can bring home a can of authentic Lake Como air. Each can is said to contain 400 milliliters of 100% authentic air collected from Lake Como, a destination that's become increasingly popular with tourists. Thanks to celebrity associations, George and Amal Clooney own a house there, and movies, including Casino Royale and House of Gucci, which were filmed there. More than 5.6 million people visited Lake Como last year. That is a lot. And in case you're curious, those 400 milliliters of authentic air sell for $11 US a piece. So Ted, your birthday is coming up, and I always think you have everything,
Well,
so
okay.
maybe you could experience opening that can of air and imagine yourself.
Yeah, breathe it in. Yeah, that's right. It doesn't sound weird at all, but well, it'd be interesting to see that. Weather today, if you were hoping for some good old-fashioned rain cool there, we have some of that going on right now. A couple of showers near Rochester moving to the east. Otherwise, we'll dry things out for a big part of the afternoon. 62, the high temperature, and then we'll cool into the 50s late in the afternoon. 40s tonight with rain redeveloping. A big part of tomorrow will be breezy and wet with rain going on at least until mid-afternoon.
Thanks, Ted. Have a wonderful Monday.
Amy Klobuchar is one of the